Today is December 24th, 2020. I'm going to be doing my review today about US saber-rattling versus Iran. Now, why would the US be saber-rattling against Iran? The US is most likely behind, directly or indirectly, the killing of one of Iran's top nuclear scientists last month. And at the end of last month, early this month, we're almost certainly behind the assassination of a senior Iranian military commander on the Iraqi Syrian border. So the US is provoking Iran, antagonizing Iran, killing Iranians, and now they're saber rattling. Why would they be doing that? And here's the headline from RT. US nuclear submarine sails into Persian Gulf as Israel sends own sub through Suez Canal in message to Iran. And, okay, to be fair, the U.S. Navy right here, they just say they're demonstrating the fleet's ability to operate wherever international law allows. But of course, they do these things, and it often is aimed directly at Iran, a show of force against Iran. And the same goes for Israel, although the Israeli military didn't officially confirm this. So it may have happened, it may not, but that's usually how Israel operates. They'll do something openly, but they'll never talk about it officially. But what is this? Why are they doing this? Here's another article. If one American is killed, I'll hold you responsible. Trump's friendly health advice to Iran amid Iraq embassy closure rumors. Now, apparently, the U.S. embassy in Iraq came under attack, which happens pretty often, actually. And why not? The U.S. is highly unpopular in Iraq. Why wouldn't they be? They maliciously and deliberately lied to create a pretext for the 2003 invasion. They killed 1 million people. They displaced or destroyed the lives of tens of millions of people. They have destabilized the country ever since. The Iraqi government has repeatedly told the U.S. to remove its military forces from Iraqi territory, and the U.S. refuses. What would the U.S. do to a country that refused to leave its territory? I'm pretty sure they would shell whatever they were calling an embassy, which would actually be just an outpost of occupation in contravention to international law. I'm pretty sure that's what the U.S. would do. And so that's what Iraqis and their allies are doing. Now, was this Iran who's behind the attack? I don't know. Could have been anybody. I think the U.S. has a lot of enemies there. The U.S. also has a bad habit of staging attacks. So who knows? Who knows who was behind this? And of course, nothing the U.S. says can be trusted because their whole presence in Iraq is predicated on a deliberate, now verified lie. So the U.S. has painted themselves into this corner where they have no credibility. Everything they say is questionable in regards to Iraq, and of course, in regards to Iran. They're also talking about nuclear-capable B-52 bombers, being sent to the region. And so, what is this all about? And of course, I've talked about the U.S. and Iran. I've talked about this. I've talked about how the U.S. for years and years has wanted to do regime change in Iran. I've talked about the Brookings Institution and their report, Which Path to Persia. This was published in 2009. In that report, they talked about the Iran nuclear deal, how they would propose a deal to Iran for peace, but they were doing it just to make it look like the U.S. was trying for peace. The U.S. deliberately planned to sabotage the deal, blame the Iranians, and then say, look, we tried for peace. The Iranians were being unreasonable. Now we have to move forward with aggression because Iran is just not cooperating. That's what they wrote in the document. It says that. And I will put the link to one of those articles where I quote directly from the report so you could read it for yourself, because some of these things you need to read for yourself to believe. And, talking about the U.S. embassy being targeted in Iraq, I mean, look what the U.S. just did. They just pardoned these 4 maniacs from Blackwater, private military contractors. These are people who went to Iraq for money. They wanted money. They went to Iraq. and they killed people for money. That's what they did. And they went to trial. They were found guilty by a court of law in the US, and they were sentenced to prison for killing people. And Trump just let them out. Just let them out. And so how do you do that and not expect people in the country where these four killed people, how do you expect them not to be upset with the United States? Is it a finger in the eye? Is it a provocation? Is it a provocation that they plan to stage an attack around, you know? So it's an extremely dangerous time, because when you see a country like the United States, who is already killing people all around the world, has military occupations going on all around the world, and then you see this chain of events, this is all deliberately designed to either provoke a country into acting or set the stage for a staged provocation, so that the US can say, oh, Iran did this. Even if there's no evidence, they'll say, Iran did this. Now we need to do something to Iran. We're talking about nuclear capable B-52s, okay? And whatever Israel has in their nuclear arsenal, because they're not ever going to be able to fight a conventional war with Iran. So let's just be on guard. Let's pay attention. People need to not get complacent about this. Just because the U.S. has done this in the past and then ultimately backed down from war with Iran does not mean that it's not going to eventually happen. They have explicitly expressed their desire to go to war with Iran. It's just a matter of getting the pretext and all the conditions just right to do it. So let's just cross our fingers and hope this is just another scare, and that it doesn't happen, and that America's influence just keeps waning in that region, and they keep getting pushed out, and that eventually this region can finally someday have some sense of, normalcy that everyone else in the world takes for granted. We can hope, for the new year maybe. So for my patrons who make these videos possible, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Keep the feedback coming. If you're seeing this when I publish it publicly, please like and share the video. Subscribe to my channel. It's totally free to do, and it helps the channel grow. Check the video description for links to the references that I used during this video, and also for ways that you can help support my work, like through Patreon. As a Patreon member, you not only do you help support my work month to month, but you also get benefits and extra content in return. And you also become part of you're not just supporting my work, but you're helping create a community around my work. And I would love to have as many people as possible in that community. And to everyone who's helping me in every way, even if you're just liking and sharing my videos, thank you so much. And as always, thank you for watching.